This is Bits, a co-host with WX8BK's Night Train broadcast. We're on Twitter Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, where myself, One Wheel Willie, and our third Mike, Mike Nash, interview interesting artists and people from the Web3 world and everything in between. This episode's guest is Proteon, a 3D artist that creates pieces that take us to another world or an apocalyptic version of ours. He also creates all of the soundtracks for his pieces in-house himself. He is a multi-chain artist, and his pieces are highly sought after by all of his collectors. We joined this episode already in progress with Willie talking about plumbing and a yard flooding problem that he had. Also in this episode, unfortunately, we were rugged at about the 2.5-3 hour mark, just as we were settling in to make it a long one. Nonetheless, this is a really great listen. As always, for more information on the artist, check the links below. Also hit the subscribe button below and check out more of our great interviews.
Put in this hose spigot before they put these pavers down. And what they've done, for those that aren't plumbing experts, is
I'm pretty sure everybody in here is. I'm definitely for sure. So
they've used what are essentially emergency fittings. You know, they're repair fittings for, like, specifically designed for sprinklers, because sprinklers only come on 10 minutes at a time, 30 at the max, right? And then they shut off. So they're not under constant pressure. But this didn't have a shut off on it, obviously. So it wasn't after a sprinkler valve, it was before a sprinkler valve, which meant that it was under constant pressure for the 2 or 3 years that it's been in there. And it eventually just gave way at the fitting, which was underneath pavers. So thank God it wasn't concrete. I'd have been out here with a jackhammer last night.
I was going to say
trying to tear up the goddamn concrete.
You would have at least got to use a jackhammer, though, right? I mean...
Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. I would have been out here with a sledgehammer because I wouldn't have been able to get a jackhammer at that time.
Sure. Dude.
Yeah, so I'd have been out here busting my ass with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, those pavers aren't fucking fun to mess around with either, man. Like, I think they weigh like 80 pounds each, right? They're like regular sidewalk pavers.
Nah, these are only like 12 by 12s.
Oh.
So they're only, like 15 pounds for a full size.
Gotcha.
They're not too big.
That's crazy, man. Well, you lucked out. Like, seriously, as far as plumbing disasters go.
It was also like 5 o'clock, though, right? So I'm going, all right, I got to find this problem with enough time to be able to get to Home Depot to get everything that I need to fix the problem tonight. So I'm like digging through these, I'm trying to pull up these pavers and dig through this. And, of course, like I said, it's all sand. So all the water that was stored underneath my entire patio, as I dig, just keeps wanting to come back in. So I'm trying to bail water out constantly and racing the clock so that I can get to Home Depot before it closes.
Dude, that is exciting plumbing adventures.
Quite the nightmare.
Well, I mean, yeah, but as far as it goes, man, I think that's pretty good case scenario. Do you have a basement? Do you guys got a basement there? Probably not, eh?
No, not too many basements around.
No, I wouldn't imagine. You guys don't really require them. We kind of do it up here because it gets so fucking cold that you have to go below the fucking frost line when you do the foundations. So they're like, well, you might as well go the rest of the way and make a basement. Huh. Well, that's a good thing, too, because if you had a basement, that probably would have been flooding your basement. Wow. I'm happy that worked out. That worked out well for you. That was best case plumbing scenario. I was worried. You were keeping it for tonight. I was worried. But, the kids probably thought you were making a pool.
Build the drama.
For sure. Right on. I did pin up to the top. I pinned up the that opening music for anybody that was here. That was our special guest artist, Proteon, did that. And it's called Forever. Or maybe it's called something else just because of the .o outside of the bracket, Forever. But, I'm sure you can answer that a little bit later on when we bring him up, for sure. And, of course, I'm just assuming a he. We always have to say that in these spaces. You never know, right? Like, which brings up...
I have spoken to Proteon before, so I'm pretty sure his pronouns are he.
I was just going to say...
Pretty sure.
You look at the art, and I mean, could be anything. Some being from a alter dimension in a future time or
True,
something
very
like that.
true.
But yeah, that actually kind of brings me to the point of uh, yesterday I saw this come up on Twitter, and there was some interesting conversation about it, and it was apparently female artists don't sell as much or as quick as male artists. And I really wish I had this question in my head. As you know, we've had Nier on here. We had Wonder Mundo on last week, and we've had Fabi Amata, right? And I would really like to ask that question, because that just brings it around to that I never even think about that. I mean, half the time you look at the Twitter name or whatever the name is, right? And it's usually non-binary anyways, right? Like sometimes there's just very strange names and you could never pin anything. But I would never. That's really interesting. Have you ever noticed that at all? Heard that?
I haven't, but there's there's a lot that goes on to sales of art, right? Whether it's it's not necessarily just supply and demand. There could be an overreaching demand, or I don't know, like, but no, I've never thought about it. And we also have Carla Ganis as our Wag Me Wine guest artist this month too.
Right, and she's quite a big artist in the real world, right? Not, I mean, y'all know what I mean, the real world.
Right.
So I don't, yeah, no, but it's going to be something I want to focus on, because I mean that's just, I mean, of course, could just be me being naive, right? Because I don't look at either of that thing. Don't care, black, white, brown, male, female, animal, AI generated, whatever. I thought that was kind of interesting, but yeah, it was
Well,
food.
another thing we always touch on, though, being mostly in Tez, is we don't look at a lot of the political sides of art, right? Or speculation, I should say. We don't deal with a lot of the
True.
speculation. We buy art on Tez because we like the art, plain and simple. Other than a few select projects,
Yeah, no, you're that's
which I
very
still love the art in those projects.
100%. I don't think it's an issue with us, and I don't think it's an issue with anybody that we know, or anybody in the WAGME project, or any of our close friends. But maybe it is. I don't know. But I can tell you, some of the female artists I collect are way better than some of the male artists. But what's that? How can you even say that? You can't say that. That just opens up a whole other bag of worms, because it's different art, right? I shouldn't even have said that.
Well, and then you also have the AI art debate to go on top of it,
Oh yeah, no.
where a lot of people want to say that AI does the art, not the artist. So there's your robot alien producing art. What do I care if it looks good?
Yeah, like we talked about that last week, or was it last week or the week before? I think maybe when you were on vacation, we had Mike Vandy in here, and drunk bartender, and we were all talking about AI art and how people are like, oh, it's AI, the computer generated, it's not even real. But it's like, you try to go put the phrases in to get exactly what you want, or as close to what you want out of it, and see how easy it is. Because I've tried it and I know it's not. You can't just go put words in there and expect it to come out ever. But we've had that debate, and yes, you're right. It's
Yeah.
art. It's art. It's always debatable, and I guess that's part of it. Is that art is debatable? It's open to conversation. It is open to interpretation. Right?
Um, our friend Meta Bunny down there has requested to come up. Should we give him just a
Oh,
couple
sure.
minutes
Yeah. It's
and see if
pop
he's
up.
got a
Yeah.
quick question,
I
or
didn't see that.
maybe he wants to hang out and ask Proteon some questions?
Yeah.
So we'll let you
You
up, Meta Bunny,
you
for just
got
a
him. You
minute,
got him.
and then
Yeah.
we'll introduce
Sure.
Proteon here.
I added him. Maybe you added him. Maybe double add. He's gonna come back 2 times as good.
Yeah, that was a problem last week.
Yeah.
Which you
Meta
guys
Bunny.
didn't give
What's
everybody
going
any
on,
space
bro?
to follow. Some new faces in here today. Appreciate everybody showing up. Some old friends, Huge Mike and Meta Bunny.
He is he's unmuted. We don't hear you if you are speaking.
Still shows connecting on mine.
Oh, does it? Okay. Mine says speaker. And then, of course, up on my computer, I don't even see him. He's not even here. I love this tech. I love technology. It makes life so easy.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, he went listener again on my end, so maybe he's busy.
All right. Well,
Maybe he's in the
if he's
bathroom.
got a question for Proteon or something, feel free to
Or for
request
us,
a
or
little bit later.
want to shoot the shit. Yeah, cool. Yeah, definitely. You gave out some shout outs there to everybody that came in tonight. Really good to see you all. We are recording the space for anybody that is concerned about that, but it's just good because people like to listen to it the next day. For anything that Willie says, is not financial advice because he's down there.
Or plumbing advice.
Or plumbing advice. That's right. We get to use that one legitimately again. I love that. And of course, I'm in Canada, so if you want to take anything I say as financial advice, knock yourself up, fill your boots, but you'll be in the same situation that I'm in. Broke. For sure. All right. Well, what do you figure, my man? You figure it's time to get into the nitty gritty and the meat and potatoes of this conversation? And
yeah.
unless you have something else you want to talk about, another plumbing.
No, let me just start introducing Proteon by just by how I met him or came across him. He came into the grotto a couple months ago, shortly after I did, during probably right about when you did, when all the new free agents started to come in, and didn't know him from anybody else. Went over into the Paper Buddha Discord, spoke with him about a couple of things because I think he's a mod over there. And honestly, just had great interaction with him. One of the nicest guys I've met online, just so kind and everything. Didn't even really know he was an artist until they did a giveaway in the Paper Buddha Discord, I think it was. And I won one of his pieces. And then I was like, oh, wow, got some really cool stuff. It's kind of dark. It's kind of like some pieces are kind of dark. Some pieces are kind of fun, kind of video gaming. So that's how I came across him, and been talking for a month or so now, trying to get him on. And now's the time. Just dropped a new piece on Soul. So with that, welcome, Proteon.
Hey, thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I can say, I do identify as a male, if you were wondering. I actually used for a long time. I've used like female PFPs because I make male and female figures, and for whatever reason, I love the females more. So I've used them, and a lot of people think I'm female because of that. And I don't correct them because I don't even care. So whatever. But I get a lot of like she's and whatever, and I'm just like whatever. And you know what? We'll talk just a second more about that. The reason why I probably don't correct them is because there's another artist I talk to a lot, and everyone thinks they're male, but she's female, and she never corrects them. So like I think I'm just taking like out of her book just to be like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. So just go with it. But I do have right out the gate. I have actually a question for Bits. Are you in the Ottawa area?
No, I'm in Western Canada. I'm in Alberta, Calgary, Alberta.
Oh, okay, all right. Just your accent made me think like you were, I don't know, sound very Ottawa for whatever reason. I'm in Toronto, so I'm Canadian too.
Oh, dude, are you seriously? Fuck,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
A lot of worries. Your worries were very Ottawa-esque.
Wow. I'm kind of insulted actually now. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
wow,
I had
dude.
no idea.
I did not know that. I've just thought that's fucking awesome. Like I seriously don't meet enough people in the space. I know people exist that are, in Canada, but I rarely meet people that are in the space that are Canadian. Wow. Cool. We'll
yeah.
Wow, we're someday we're gonna have to get together for some fucking Molsons and poutine, right? No, just kidding.
And maybe
yeah, drink some of our strong Canadian beer. Awesome.
Exactly. Yeah,
cool.
Maybe at a party because I went to New York for the NFT NYC and I met a lot of people. It was a pretty crazy party.
Yeah, I gotta get out to some of that stuff for sure when it happens for sure. Yeah, no, we're gonna have to talk more Canadian in a bit for sure. But give us a little lowdown about yourself. Well, I guess you kind of did give us a little lowdown about yourself, but how long you been in art? How'd you get into art, and where you are now? And tell
Yeah,
us about
sure. So I've been producing music for decades, like 3 decades, but for a long time. And to kind of go along with my music, I wanted to do art, like just make like little mini videos and so on. I got pretty serious about it. I would say only more recently, like 2014. I don't know if you call that recent or not. It's almost like a decade, so maybe a little while. So in 2014, I started really focusing on like group work, and I was using a lot. I'd say After Effects more. Then I got frustrated with After Effects, and I decided it was time to like go full 3D. And so I jumped to full 3D. I started using Cinema 4D. I started using Blender. If you're familiar with 3D programs, Blender's free, and I'm still blown away that it's free. Like that, even today, I'm just like, why did I even switch to a paid software when it's so good? Anyways, so I switched to Cinema 4D, and it was primarily to deal with like 3D the way I wanted to. If anyone uses After Effects, they know that like you could fudge 3D, but you're not having a good time. So yeah, I like about, I don't know, 5 or maybe longer than that, maybe 8 years ago, I switched over, and yeah, I was making stuff like making videos for my music. I produce under a different name, so I don't produce under Proteon. I'm very prolific in my music, so I have a lot of stuff out. Um, but I actually wasn't incorporating, which is funny. I wasn't incorporating my music into my art. I don't know why. I guess at first I was just like, I wanted to do a visual thing and see how that goes, and see how things go in like NFT land. If I use a different name and I don't tell anyone like that I produce, and I just start doing stuff, see how it goes. And I think like a lot of people, I started in ETH, and you know, I was like, okay, cool, I'll mint something, and then I was like, whoa, what's this gas fee? Kind of shocked me, and I'm like, at the time, I think it was like $800. I'm like, so I have to pay $800 and like just to get this thing online, and it was my first experience with minting, so I didn't really understand. And then someone's like, oh, not only that, if like you get like a bid, then you have to accept it, and then that's gas fee. And I was like, so it's gonna cost me, I don't know, like $1,500. So that means I have to sell it at whatever, and no one knows who I am. Like that's crazy. And then somehow I found out about Tez, and they're like, well, Tez is like relatively cheap to mint, and I was like, okay, well, this is like a good little gateway. So I I opened a Coinbase account, and I did a bunch of these like free quizzes. I don't know if you've seen
yeah,
these,
yeah,
just to give me enough Tez to mint. I'm not even kidding. So I think I got like $10 like for doing these stupid little quizzes about
dude.
like, I don't know, it was like Cardano and all these little things, and I converted it all to Tez, and so I had enough Tez to mint, and I started on, it was Object. No, it wasn't Object. It was like the early Hen days. And they did this like object for object event, and that's when I like jumped in. I'm like, okay, just put out stuff, make it super cheap, see how it goes. And like I don't know, I think my first edition was like 100 and or 101 or something like that, and I like sold them. So I was like, all right, this is pretty neat. Um, and I liked at the time I was going through like a geometrics like phase, if you will. And if you look at my stuff on Tez, it's very geometric in style. So I like I've always liked monochrome. My first two mints were blue and black, and after that I just went complete black and white. I don't know what I was thinking. It was clearly early days for me. Um, but if you look at my early work, it's all like very geometric, monochrome. It's all animated. It's all looping too. So I love things that like loop forever. The problem I had is once I started incorporating music, I could no longer have it looping forever, like in a GIF, because then you lose the audio. You have to do an MP4, but that's okay. Eventually, I started incorporating music. There was a huge, or like a very significant change in my work, and I know the exact moment when it happened. And you have something pinned up top. Let me just flip back, I think.
I just pinned
Yeah,
some random stuff from the top of your Twitter feed.
yeah, that one that's just the object link. So that's like it's a Buddha, and it's like a looping Buddha, and I think you were playing the music early on. That was from a competition when I first like found out who Paper Buddha was, just like as an artist. And he had a competition. I don't remember what it was for to win, but whatever. Doesn't matter. The point is, it pushed me out of like my geometric phase. So like if you look at some of the other stuff that you've pinned, like it's really different than like blocks that are black and white. And if you look at my early stuff, it's like strikingly different. Um, but it was like I chalk it up to Paper Buddha's contest to like think outside the box, because I was like, all right, I'm doing geometric work, and I need to incorporate like a Buddha into this because it's a competition for Paper Buddha. Clearly, I'm not going to be able to do this like entirely with geometric stuff. So I knew how to animate, and I knew how to do like modeling and stuff like that because I've been doing that for a long time. So I just took like a hack at it, and I was like, I should just do this. I love this, and that was like the big change in style. So like if you look at like my collections, you can see all the early stuff on Hen is very geometric, and then I kind of like I stopped and I moved to collections. Sorry, that's my dog. If you're wondering what's going on here. I stopped on Hen, and I moved to collections on object.com to kind of have like this more, I guess you could say like unified collections, So like I have a one of one places where I just minted one of ones. I have like I think I call it expeditions, where I explore ideas and explore like techniques. But yeah, and then that was going all well. And, again, I like inevitably it's going to come back to Paper Buddha because that's just the way it legitimately was. But he's tri-chain. So like he releases on ETH, he releases on Tez, he releases on Solana. He does really well on like all chains. It's funny if you ever listen to him talk about it on other anywhere, like in any podcast or in any space. Everyone's always like amazed at how he like maneuvers between that. But at the time, I wanted to do a new collection, and I thought, well, Solana seems to be like really welcoming, and I'm going to test it out. And like I minted my first piece, and like I was blown away. Like, from like not that everything's about monetary standpoint, but like from a monetary standpoint, like I destroyed my like all-time highs that were on Tez, and like my DMs were filled with people just like chatting, and I got like invites to all these groups, and so like it was just a amazing like experience just from one mint. And yeah, and I kind of just kept going. So I still mint in Tez. I had a one of one that I just released a little while ago, and I did something for the Grotto, like for the Cardinali and a couple of other people. But
So
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
yes, no, I want to ask you before you get too far off. So other than just seeing what you can do on Solana, or just trying to mint on Solana, was there any kind of technical reason from a chain standpoint or a background standpoint? Like as far as, are there file size limitations or something like that on Tez that you can increase on Solana, or?
I've heard this analogy, and I have to say, like, I'm going to use it because I feel like it's true. Imagine ETH and Tez had a baby, and like that is Solana. It's like a baby between the two, where you get like cheap network fees. It's not costing you, whatever it costs now. Now it's only like I think $5 or something like that. Like cost for stuff on ETH is pretty cheap, but not at the time I was trying to mint my first piece. So I feel like it's the best of both worlds. I still have some frustrations in Solana. Like I feel like no one has a good solution for doing airdrops, and I feel like in Tez, like that was sorted so long ago, and in ETH it was definitely sorted long ago, and I just don't understand like why that's the case. It wasn't really a technical thing. It was more like an avenue to pursue something entirely different. So like that, like what you have, the last thing you pin, completely different than anything I've ever done, except for I think my last one of one on object. So I really wanted like like a clean break, if you will, to do something new.
So almost like a separation of your own collection, almost to new collectors, to be able to completely break the differences. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, it was entirely to exactly. I mean, I could have done a new collection on Tez, and I'm probably do well. I haven't, I won't know because I didn't do it. But I mean, I still mint on Tez, like I said, so it's not like I've dropped Tez. But yeah, it was really just to get like a super clean break, just to see how it is. Honestly, it was like I had no idea how it was gonna go. It could have been a complete flop, and it really wasn't. Like it was the opposite. I was shocked at how well it went, and yeah, that's it. And like if I flopped, fine. Maybe I'd try to mint a couple more times and see how it goes. But that wasn't the case. Well, if you look at the sales history of my first collection. I had two like massive, amazing like blunders, if you will. Solana Network is like technically it's technically in beta, I think. And I minted when the network went down. Like, I don't even know how the network goes down. But anyways, I minted when it went down.
We hear it's always down.
Oh yeah, it was a nightmare. And it was a huge piece. It was a collaboration with a really big artist. And the network was down for a long time. And basically what happened was if you had like that first bid in from the night like I posted it, you won, right? Because no one knew how to deal with it. The exchange was like, we don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, pause the damn freaking auction, right? But they're like, we don't know how to do that. We can't even get on the network to do that. I'm like, son. So like that hurt a lot, just because like it was such a big time for me, and it was such like an important collaboration. And I went to an amazing collector, and the collector was like, I'll give it back to you and you can put it up for auction because that totally sucks. So I got to give credit to them because they were awesome, but we're like, no, like it's done, you just take it. And so that happened. And then the next time I minted was when we had that like one of the massive crashes, like crypto crashes, and everything was down like so big. And of course, like I minted literally right before it happened, and I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh god, I'm not selling anything. Of course, like no one's gonna buy anything. They're liquidating everything. But like things, I just kept on going. I never stopped. I think that's like probably the most important thing that I did, is that I just never stopped. I was always minting, no matter what the market was like. If the market was really bad, and it's been pretty bad like this year, if you will, I might have taken like a little longer to mint, but I was always making art, always making music, always combining them, and just always doing my thing because I love doing it, and I wasn't going to let that stop me. So the way I look at it is those early collectors got like great deals, especially like with what's happening right now. So kudos to them.
Damn, Crash is helping out the collector. I like it.
Yeah, it was rough though. I like it. It sucked.
Absolutely, yeah, no, for sure.
Down, like that blew my mind. I'm like, how? What do you mean the network's down? Like it completely offline. Crazy. So, but normally I will say normally the network's fine. Like I've only had that one experience and it sucked. Although some people said like it's been problematic in the past. It seems okay now. Either way, I got tied in with like the one of one community. So like people, on Tez I was doing like small editions and one collection of one in ones. And I knew when I went to Solana I wanted to just do like primarily only one of ones or anything that fed into one of ones. So that's kind of where I got hooked in there. And it's been fun. It's been good. I'm going to be testing the waters in ETH. I did eventually mint in ETH, and I'm part of a group called the Bad Luck Club, and there's 12 of us. We're all like primarily one of one artists who put out like a couple of editions, and yeah, it's going really well. And my piece will be minting out this month. So if you're interested in stuff on ETH, that's where the only place really to get that. My work will be on the Bad Luck Club stuff. So I guess technically I'm tri-chain now. So yeah,
go for broke. You might as well. I mean, you have the ability, right? And if you probably pick up a few other collectors along the way too, going to these different chains, obviously, right? Because I mean, there's people that won't set foot on Solana, and then there's people that praise it. I just opened I opened my Solana wallet for the first time in 3 months, just the other
Yeah.
day, because when you were launching your new collection on there. But yeah, and I have nothing to say about it either way. All I hear about is what happens. I never really used it for very long. It's just the couple of projects I found were lame, and there was a rug, so it kind of went the wayside, right? So I'm not partial either way.
Yeah, it's legendary for like the rug pulls. I joined after those rug pulls, and people still talk about them, or people still have like bad tastes in their mouth. Man, crypto has like an infinite memory, so people remember.
Oh, it's literally on the blockchain.
Yeah,
True that.
yeah,
True that.
exactly. Yeah, indelible. So, but hey, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I'm just making art, so I'm doing really well, and I'm loving every second
Fun.
of it.
That's awesome. Can you tell us about your new project that you've been releasing? You got two more additions to this new project coming out tomorrow on Solana, for anybody that's interested. Can you just throw it down to us? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So it's actually something that I developed when I tested the waters with with Solana. The reason why I was doing that is because I've always been intrigued by PFPs. I don't know why. Probably because of like bored apes and stuff like that. But I don't own an ape or anything like that. But I
I
still find
think
it intriguing
I
because
think most people in the space got into it through PFPs, so it's pretty common for everybody, I think.
yeah, and if you look at like half the people here, they've got like PFPs as their they're rocking PFPs. So it's always been like intriguing. I've always just been like I should do a PFP, and I love like dystopian stuff. So like I love the idea of like destroyed futures and like science gone wrong, and I read if I read it's only fiction and it's only that kind of like dystopian novels. And I also love like old school or older school anime. So like Akira, like probably one of my biggest influences. There's a really really well known illustrator from the 70s who passed away in like the 2012 I think it was, but his name is Mobius. Super famous, and even if you haven't heard of him, you've probably seen his work. He's like really distinct style, and I just love his work. So like over the years, I would buy
Is that where the kind of comic booky, hard outline, sketchy kind of style comes from?
exactly. Oh yeah, yeah. Like if you just put like Mobius Illustrator in Google, you'll see images and it'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen some of this stuff. Like he did something for Marvel, like a really big one with Silver Surfer. Anyways, so I wanted to combine all of those influences into a PFP, and it took me a while to figure out like how to do that in 3D because as much as I wish, I can't draw. It's funny. Like I I sketch stuff to like how when I'm thinking of ideas, I'll sketch it out, and when I look back at them, I'm like, I can't even draw like a stick man. They're terrible, and I wish I could. Like I wish I could draw, but hey, you know what? I know how to use a computer, and I know how to use 3D software, and I figured out how to make it look like that using 3D software. And the bonus for me is that like I don't have to like manually animate frame by frame. I can do it over like on the computer and have it animate. So I decided at that point, once I knew like Solana was going to be viable, that I was going to work on this. So for months, I was working on this project in the back end. Like I was doing other things, but I was continually working on this because I want to have like a good number of these little characters or PFPs that I could use. So they're all one of ones. They're all monochrome. They're all I call it portraits of the aftermath. So like the story is that if you look at the series, the story is that like it's 100 years after this war. There's something called plasma, and anyways, it's a dystopian, it's cyberpunky, heavy, like Blade Runner influences, and yeah, it's gone really well. Everything has music, so everything is thematic too. So they all have like this similar types of music, if you will. So if you like go between pieces, not only stylistically and visually is it similar, but music wise, it's also similar. And yeah, they're all like 40 seconds. And one of the things I just did today, because apparently I don't have enough things to do for myself, I decided I was going to start giving every one of those owners like a 3D interactive NFT. So I took their like NFT and I made a bust out of it and I put it on a pedestal, and then I minted it as a GLB, and a GLB file is like an interactive file where like you can zoom in on it and spin it around, and like if you've probably played with it, or maybe seen them as NFTs. And I just did that today. I just like minted them out and I sent it to the 2 people that won last week, and yeah, it was a nice little surprise, and I hope to do that for everyone else too.
That's
very cool surprise.
That's so
Yeah.
those are and that is all when you're releasing these pieces. So right, you released 2 last week and you're doing 2 more tomorrow, correct, in the same series?
Yeah, I want to do 2 every week, and I think I have
Cool.
enough that like I can get to. I haven't decided if I'm doing 40 or 50, but that'll be the end, and I can finish the series at 40 or 50.
And they're all going up auction style too. That's how.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, the reason why is because there's people all around. Like, I've done non-auctions, and people would message me and be like, I'm in Europe, or I don't know, like someone from Indonesia, right? And like I'm sleeping, and it's gonna get sniped the second you list it. So like, what can I do? So yeah, I only do auctions that way. I feel like it's more fair. I don't have to worry about botting or anything like that.
That's really cool. That's kind of been caring about collectors in the rest of the world. I mean, obviously you have to, because like we're all connected, like we're neighbors now, right? Through the internet. But I really find it cool. We've heard it echoed many times. How many times artists do things just to accommodate people in other countries in this Web3 space, like whether it's people in rich or poor or whatever, but like people in other countries, like I think that's fucking really cool, and that's actually a very good way to deal with it. What you're doing, that's pretty decent about the time zone thing.
Do you think the auctions actually also increase the value and the initial sale price?
Yeah, because the alternative is that I would list it at X and it gets sold at X, and I might be happy with whatever that is, but um, like last week was the first drop from this new collection, and I had no idea what it was going to go at, like none. Is it going to, like, are people going to like it? Are people not going to like it? But I was posting little teasers, and I can tell people were into it, but I really didn't know how it was going to go, and I mean, I out of the two, one.
So not
Sorry, go
not
ahead.
knowing. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. Of the damn it, now I lost it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have got high. Shouldn't have got high.
But what I was gonna say is that like the one 2x my all time high, and then the other one 3 times my all time high, and I never would have expected that, And I feel like if I listed it, I don't know what I would have listed it at. This way, maybe there's one week where like one collector's like, I'm not into this one character, right? And I'll wait for another one, right? I know there's more coming, and so I feel like people have, I don't know, more options when I do auction style. And if they don't like it, then they don't have to bid, and if they do, then they can duke it out, I guess, if you will.
For me, it gave me a little bit of FOMO, just a tiny little bit. Like I was like, oh fuck, really? And then I watched it zoom by anything I would pay, and I'm like, God damn. And I sorry, not anything that I would pay. It zooms by what I could pay. But yeah, no, it's kind of cool, and I know there's more pieces coming down the line, and that really, like you said, it brings up a good point of is that maybe the next couple somebody go, I'm not really into those, I'm not, and then boom, I have my Proteon PFP. Sorry, Willie.
Sorry, go ahead.
So not knowing the market on that yet, like you said, you're not sure where it's going to release at, but you obviously have an initial price in mind. That initial price being X. Do you start the auction at X? Do you start the auction at like X minus 1, X minus 5, and hope that it goes past that initial thought, or what's your thought process there?
I think I take like this. I take this from Tezos, and I listed at like for all my other auctions, except for this new one, I've listed them at one soul, which, you know, is like, I don't know, what is so soul at now? Like $40 or 30 bucks. Anyways, not what it used to be. You know, I think it was a high of like 200 and whatever. But for this one, I listed it at three, and you know, I obviously hope it would go for more than three. But the reason why I'm like not listing at, let's say, like 10, you know, like one sold at 20 and one sold at 30, and the reason why I'm not listing it at 10 is because, you know, if someone doesn't like, or if I put out one and it's like a dud and people are like, wow, this sucks, what the hell was he thinking, and no one buys it, then that's fine. Like, if someone buys it on the cheap, that's fine. Like, they get all of the other benefits. You know, I'll drop them like a 3D interactive NFT. I'll put them into raffles. I'll still do that. And so I'm hoping that, like, by doing that, if I do put out something that people don't like, first of all, I get feedback because I can be like, wow, people did vibe with this. But it'll still sell, and I'll still add a new collector into everything. And so I try to keep it low. I don't know if people would consider three so low. But that's where I start.
No, that's interesting. That's a good way to think about it. You know, is about trying to find that feedback basically.
I think you're pretty much. I think anybody that you know, if in this scenario where somebody gets it at a lower price or whatever, I mean, obviously they're still buying it, so they want it. But I think definitely with your stuff, the more you look into you, the more somebody's going to get interested for sure. Like if you buy a piece and you look at the rest of your stuff, you're gonna want more of these. That's why I kind of zoned out there for a little bit, and I was going through your profile here and looking at things, and
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm starting to see movement on my secondary to like anonymous wallets and people that I don't know, and or on the other hand, I see like one collector grabbing like a couple of them, and I'm like, wow, that's, you know, it's awesome to see both. It's awesome to see new collectors, and it's awesome to see like someone being like, no, I want like multiple pieces from this guy. So I love seeing both of them.
and that's really cool that you get that real world, real time feedback on that stuff, right? That's a neat thing about this space and the way the world is now. Like as soon as somebody does it, you know, and you can look at their wallets and you can poke around and you get that instant notification if you have that kind of thing set up on your phone, I guess. But
I think with that there's still that can be anonymous out there. Like you know, today I had like a big sale, a secondary sale. I have no idea who bought it. The person who bought it won't like doesn't want to say who they are clearly, and that's okay. But it's just, I think that's kind of cool in a way that there's collectors out there who just are like, no, I just want to buy art, and that's it. You know, and
yes,
so it's in.
sorry. Yeah, no, that I think that repeats itself many, many times. I see that too, and that's, you're right. I imagine as an artist that must be really badass knowing that there's somebody who doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to know, doesn't want recognition. They just want to cruise in and collect.
Yeah, I imagine as an artist, there's a different feeling from, you know, I collect your stuff because I support you and I like your stuff, and like almost collect blindly, as opposed to somebody who just comes in and pays a heavy price and doesn't care about the rest of it. And I imagine it's a much different feeling from an artist standpoint.
Yeah, like secondary sales are um, like amazing. I feel like it shows like a sign of support and strength, and depending like who it goes to or how it goes, or you know how much it goes for, it also gives you an idea of how you are doing. It's like you said, it's feedback, and it's great feedback. So like today I had like phenomenal feedback, and you know the other thing is I love the idea that like the person that sold that piece, they made like a 50% profit too. And like, so I'm happy that collectors are also able, like I'm getting a new collector. The previous collector made like 50% profit. That's nothing to like sneeze at, you know?
Well, that'll bring new collectors on its own too. Something like that as well, right? I mean, action, things happening with your pieces on secondary, like offers being made on your collections, and that going on, like that's really important. Like that shows that a collection is alive, right? Like that that speaks worlds. If you have a bunch of pieces that sit there that got bought, doesn't matter if you sold out or not. If there's no offers on them and they're not moving, right, it kind of means that there's something missing there.
Yeah, one of the things I did note that's really different than Tez, like I feel like Tez has a super solid secondary market. Sorry, my kids are running around there. A super solid secondary market, and people are just used to it. Like that's the way it is. And I feel like on Solana, it's not as established. Although it is, it does happen. Don't get me wrong. People move secondary all the time, but I feel like compared to Tez, it's just so yeah. Like I missed it on primary, no problem. I'm definitely hit it on secondary and try to put out offers. But in Solana, I feel like that's I missed it on primary. That sucks, and that's it. Like no, like I'll try to get it on secondary, or I'll try to get the next one. So I'm like I don't know. There's secondary markets out there. You can look. It's changing, but I definitely notice a difference.
Huh. That's
Because the
really
secondary
interesting.
is probably so strong because of its initial low release prices. Like the majority of Tez, at least that I see, I don't know if it's a stats, but at least the stuff that I see, you know, 1-2 Tez all day long for initial drops, right? Even like threesomes, 1 Tez, paper boot up, 7.77 Tez for drops. But then secondary is still cheap at 5 Tez or 12 Tez. So it still has this feeling of I can still pick one up if I want to, because it's still going to be cheap enough.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And eventually, I guess if you sell low, you're gonna eventually get there in secondary sales if it keeps going up. It's awesome. I like it. So I found my piece. I bought I bought Scratch City a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, I think, even. I don't know. And then I was looking at this, and then looking at the portraits of the aftermath. And the one thing I really like is the movement that you get that is so lifelike, like with the breathing and everything, like the way they move. Like I'm almost going like, okay, dude put like those golf ball tracking rigs on himself, and he moved around to get these movements. But like you've actually done that, right? Like that's your doing.
Yeah, so in some of the pieces I have like that really fine movement. Like I think there's a really good example in the two that I'm going to be releasing this week. One has like very like subtle movement where like there's no breathing. Like it's she's just got like she turns her head and it looks a little bit more mechanical. And the reason why is because yeah, that was before I was using a motion tracking rig. And then if you look at the other one that I have like posted, yeah, like you can see the breathing and like that I was like purposely heavily breathing and making that motion, and you can see a huge difference in that.
Cool,
I like
cool.
both, you know? I like them both, and I didn't. I thought about like going back and re-rigging the previous one, but there's still something like about it. I still really like it, and I didn't want to do that. So I was like, no, I'm gonna keep it the way it is, and just keep like progressing. And maybe people will comment on that in the future, like you mentioned, right?
Oh,
Maybe people will be like, hey, I can see this distinct change. Like what happened? Yeah, it was motion tracking. That's what happened. That's what happened.
that is killer that I know. But yeah, no, because I was looking at it. I've watched these repeatedly. Many what you have going on, I watched them like repeatedly over and over, and like especially these first two ones from this collection. And I'm enthralled by it. So, but that's how it happens. That's cool, and it's still great. It makes it just that much more real. But this little
I thought
this little Scratch City guy, he's kind of the same. So was that when you did that piece? Were you using motion tracking, or is that?
Yeah, so I stole the motion tracking from a different piece and
Ah,
just applied.
dude, I love it.
Yeah, the strategy is so that's with Flux Tribe. I don't know if you know Flux Tribe in Tezos there,
Do
but
not, but looking around now.
yeah, so that's like a Constant Flux and like Pablo 5K. That's like them, and yeah, that was like a collab for Flux Tribe. and it's fun. And what specifically, like, I was talking with him to kind of get like ideas, and I put out some ideas at first, and I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. And then somehow he mentioned something like a throwback, like 90s piece. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna do that with like the music, get like an old school like hip hop sort of track with like scratching, and I had so much fun making the music. Like, I don't normally produce hip hop. I have, like, for some people, and I've made like tracks for some people, but I had an awesome time making like a 90s style hip hop track. It was just so much fun. It was throwback, and then to go with that, like, I tried to make it sort of like the visual, like he made the tags, and I put the tags up on like the roller bars. Anyways, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun working with Constant Flux on that piece.
Yeah,
He made, like I said, he made tags and music, but it came together with the music. Like, for me, when I added that music, I was like, this is it. This is the piece right here with that music. It fits so well.
Yeah. No, I'm totally happy I grabbed it. I right away, as soon as I clicked on it, I was like, oh, I want that. And it was like I had to have. Can I play that? Are you okay if I just pop that on for a second so everybody can hear it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, here's what we're talking about.
All right, is everybody ready? So good.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, it was like a fun little piece. I think, I don't remember how long it is, but it was just fun. I loved making that, and I loved
Cool.
like just the imagery of that track. It also, for me, is like throwback. Like, I definitely thought like 90s, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great piece. It's a great track. I definitely like everything about it for sure. So normally, so you said you don't normally do the hip hop kind of stuff. What do you usually do? Is it the electronics like what we hear in all of your pieces? Is that kind of what you do, or are you like a folk singer and acoustic guitar?
Oh no, nothing like that. Yeah, I have like albums out, and it's all mostly progressive house, so like club stuff, so clubs.
Dude.
Although my last album I released in May was still really new, and that one's more chill out. So maybe it's because I'm getting older and I, don't hit the clubs anymore, really.
So is that like what you do professionally? Is that your day job?
No. I've when I was 15, I listened to like a song, and I was like, how do they do some of this stuff? And I was like, I wanted to figure out how they did these production tricks, and I bought a synthesizer, and like 3 decades later, still making music and still doing stuff. That's not what I do for my day job. Yeah, you'd be shocked that I just quit my day job, but I won't tell you.
No, that's fine. We're not here to dox anybody that doesn't want to be doxed. It doesn't,
Yeah, I can just put it this way, that my day job and my everything else life are not compatible. Like, I'll just put it that way.
That's awesome. But you're balancing it out and making it happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, my
dig
life is my life, and I love my life, but like my professional life is really different.
So do you not? So does nobody in this space know about your real music or who you are? Is that something you keep?
No, people know. There's like a handful of people. Like, when I joined the Bad Luck Club, I don't know what, I must have said something, and they like doxed me in like 5 minutes. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Right on. Well,
So
I got
you
to search through the bad luck Discord to find it.
yeah, we're no.
Yeah, well, they didn't dox me publicly, I'll say that.
Well, if you ever want to share it with somebody who won't share it, I would fucking be forever eternal grateful for that, because like finding out that you're Canadian and you're into that kind of music, well, not into it, but do that just. I'm like, my mind is being blown away here. I'm like, I got a new friend. Just kidding.
Yeah, Bits was a strip club DJ for years, apparently.
It wasn't just strip clubs now.
Man,
But yes, I was.
The man knows his music.
Damn straight. Damn straight. I know my music and my pasties.
And my pasties.
Dope. Awesome.
It's funny.
Cool. So you say that so that anyways, back to Portraits of the Aftermath is where I think this all started a few minutes ago. So you figure you got like you said like 40, 50 pieces?
Yeah, for sure. Like for sure, I'm gonna do 40. That's no question. And
Right.
then it's just a question of, am I gonna do 50? And I'm just gonna see how it goes because one of the things I really do, and even in all my collections, even on Tezos and stuff like that, I do a lot of giveaways. I reward like my holders. I do stuff, and that kind of takes like eats time. So I want to do 50 because 50 is a nice round number, but I'm being cognizant that it might be 40. But for sure, I'm going to hit 40. Like I'm doing 40 no matter what. I want to do 50. We'll see. You're gonna love this one. I'm already thinking of my next collection, and I'm already like starting it. So, in addition to that, I'm already working on like the next phase, which I think will really like shock people. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be a real like you'll see the continuity, you'll see how I got there, but I think it's gonna really like shock people when they see it and they'll be like, "Holy shit!" It's gonna be good. I hope so. Anyway.
I'm looking forward to it. Some of your pieces, I was just trying to find it in my phone, but I shut everything down. But I like I don't know, just when I sit there and watch them, like the looping pieces, it seems like they're done in a way where it seems like I could sit there forever, and keep watching it. It seems like I'm watching a movie. It sounds kind of odd. I mean, I do smoke pot. I'll fully be admit to that, but
Yeah.
like there was like one last night that I was looking at there. It was like a spaceship that was kind of sitting there, and it looked like it was like gonna go fly into a building, and like the grass it was blowing around, like there was a silhouette. At least I'm pretty sure it was your piece. I should have looked it up first. Fuck, it could be
No,
discredited.
I love that piece.
Yeah.
That's called Arrival, and it's part of a story that I was doing. So it's like this person that's like lost on a planet, and it's like that little ship is kind of like landing at the docking bay sort of
Yeah.
thing. I love that
Oh,
piece.
dude,
I'm with you.
it felt like it feels like I've even though I've sat there for only like 40 seconds or whatever, a minute staring at this, it feels like I'm watching a movie. There's something I've been there. I already know what happened earlier, and this is a crucial scene, and yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah. I
I'm
have
trying to find it
like
now.
mini series. So in that series, it's kind of like that girl, and I just follow her around, kind of putting her in these precarious positions.
So it does seem like pretty much every collection you do has like a story. Is that true? Am I wrong in that? Other than your early stuff,
Um,
obviously, that was like just shapes.
yeah. My I'd say more recently, absolutely, like everything's themed. So if you look at my series, like they call them series on Solana rather than a collection, everything's like very themed. So I had like my first collection was very much um uh, how can I put it, like very much more focused on like a person. My next collection is very like surreal. I'm going with like more surreal stuff, and then I have this PFP collection that's like clearly themed. So yeah, more recently everything's very
Mm-hmm.
like following a storyline, if you will. And then Pez like um, Lost. That was definitely the story, and I still have another piece that I want to put out for Lost. So
These I like that PFP collection. Like I look at this new collection or series, I guess, or if we're talking series, um, that it's like when I think PFPs, I don't look at your stuff and go, oh, it's PFP, but it's like beyond that. But that's like it kind of seems like taking it to another level to me, almost.
yeah, I just wish I could put the animated PFP onto my my little
Yeah,
Twitter icon.
yeah. I guess that's the next step, right? In this world, if it'll happen, we know it'll all happen, right? For sure.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't realize they were PFPs at first.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all the series is all PFPs. That was like the goal, because like I said earlier, I wanted
yeah.
to really bring that into like do something with PFPs, And that's why I was testing Solana to be like, okay, is this a place for that?
Good work. I don't know how much time you have to spend with us tonight because obviously you have a family and you got a dog. By the way, what's your dog's name? Can you
No,
say that?
his name's Shadow. He's an old man.
You just doxed Shadow.
Yeah.
Uh,
There you go.
Shadow doxed.
Yeah.
I love my dog. I like it. I love to hear it when we're talking to artists or anybody and they have dogs in the background. They're always apologizing for their dogs and making noise because dogs don't give a fuck. Mind you,
Yeah.
kids don't for the most matter either, right? Young ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, my kids should be in bed now, but they're running around, so.
I just I wanted to reach out and see if anybody that's been listening has any questions they would like to ask. If you do, you feel free to.
I've still got plenty.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to check because, like I say, you never know when somebody has to jump
No,
out.
yeah, absolutely. If somebody wants
I
to,
know. I know you
if
have.
somebody has any questions, come on up. But
If not, Willie can continue on.
are you familiar with the game Borderlands?
Oh, of
series?
course. Yeah. I got Borderlands 3 loaded on my PC right now.
Okay, so has that been somewhat of a inspiration to some of your pieces?
Yeah. Well, their style was taken from like Mobius too. Like that's that art illustrator from the 70s I was talking about. That's very like the Mobius style. So yeah, I mean, I know their work is done in Unreal, and that's actually what I'm working on next. Unreal Engine. That's what I'm working on next for my next collection. I'm working in Unreal Engine to do even more insane stuff. So, if you think these are wild, holy shit, you're in for a treat. I hope.
Yeah, no. When I saw some of the new stuff, I'm like, did he work on Borderlands? Does he work on Borderlands?
Yeah, no, definitely that inspiration. And that, like I said, that all stems from like that old style of like anime and Mobius style, like comic illustration and stuff.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to figure out how to do that in 3D. Like to make it look like that, that cartoon style.
Is it since it's such a like a classic style, I guess, are there like filters and tools kind of built to help with that? Or I mean, I imagine you're not going in and like hard lining the edges yourself.
Oh no, it's not like that at all. It works by like it works by two ways. One in that like it's something called a shader. So the way like 3D works is like you develop like materials. So I developed a material that can pick up edges. All right. So it knows like where the edges are and it outlines the edges. So that's how I get those edges. And then the other one is like based on the light, it'll have like hard cutoffs. So rather than like a gradient, it does like hard cutoffs so that it goes like, let's say white, light gray, medium gray, dark gray, black, like in hard lines. And that's how I get those other kind of cutoffs. So like if you look at my PFP, you could see that there's no gradients. It's like either white or like a light gray, a dark gray, or like a super dark gray. And that's how I kind of do that.
Cool.
So
yeah, very cool.
There's stuff that allows you to do that. It's just the shaders.
Okay.
Oh.
But I definitely program them, like definitely make them.
Yeah. You program the shaders yourself. You're not finding something that's Mobius style shader and then just plugging it in.
Yeah, I don't even think that exists. But yeah, I just use the shaders out there and like customize them to work for me.
Wow, Willie was digging. Willie was digging deep on there. He was trying to like.
Yeah,
well,
no,
I mean,
I'm not buying shaders. I mean, no disrespect to anyone that does, but I don't think you can even. I don't know if you can buy shaders. I've never looked to see if you can buy shaders. You can probably buy anything.
But yeah, that's the key, right? You got to buy it, and that's not going to be cheap.
Yeah, maybe.
I've done 3D design, since like 06 or maybe even before. Probably before that. Probably since like 01. Yeah. But
you're old
in AutoCAD. So I can design parts and things like that, but as far as animating and shading and anything like that, I've never had to. But it's always kind of been it's always been a tool that's in there because they own 3D Studio Max, so there's all these like similar tools. I think they even own Unreal now, Autodesk that is. But so that like there's always been these adjacent tools to the tools I use every day, and I'm always more curious about, well, how do I do that? What do I do there?
Yeah, it's not a big step to start shading your stuff. If you really want, I don't use 3D Max, but if you switch to something else, I could always show you how to do stuff or help you out.
Yeah, I was thinking about taking a look at Blender, but then you were saying that was a pain in the ass, and
No, no, no.
Blender's
Blender is not.
awesome. Yeah.
Blender's awesome. It's free and it's amazing, and I'm always shocked that it's free. Like it blows my mind that it's a free software. Like I can't get over that. So yeah. If you're gonna even think about something, I would recommend anyone to start with Blender.
It's
okay, because
No,
I think they can actually import a DWG file too, so I can actually start in CAD in software that I'm very familiar with, and then export it to Blender and kind of take it from there. I think.
yeah, I don't know what it can import, but probably.
yeah, it's pretty wide open to that kind of stuff because I use Blender for my 3D printing, right? Well, I'm not very fucking good at that at all, but yeah, like I mean, Blender has like a whole bunch of files that it'll import, and I'm sure if it won't, I'm sure you can change whatever file you have into something that it will import for sure.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what we learned today.
I've got a piece that needs to be 3D'd in my
Here we go.
in my collection. I'm trying to print out.
We're gonna start producing some art now.
Oh, Willie's an art.
That'll probably be the only produced piece. I try to stick to photography only,
Okay.
and bad photography at that.
Willie's got a Genesis piece, a window peeper.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. He's big.
Link it there. Link it in the nest thing.
Get some links up there, Willie. And I was going to say, Proteon, anything that you want to pin up at the top, even if it's for another artist or whatever, if you got something you want to put up there, by all means, I forgot to tell you at the beginning, whatever you want to stick up there. I mean, nobody's stuck nudes up there yet, but I don't think we'd really complain about that either. We're very casual.
Well, we did in a different space. That wasn't under
that was
our normal WX8BK space.
That wasn't nudes. That was PFP. PFP goblins.
Well, it got us pulled by Twitter.
It did. That's
so
pretty.
It was fun.
That's a satisfying thing, anyways.
Here, I pinned up the breathing guide just so because we talked about the motion tracking.
Oh
and stuff.
yeah, totally.
I just pinned that up there. Hopefully that shows eventually.
That should.
So I was going to ask about motion tracking too, because when Fitz brought it up, I thought he was completely joking, and then you were like, "No, I absolutely use motion tracking." So, like, how much rig does that entail? I mean, is it something as simple as an iPhone 13 Pro that's now got infrared cameras on it, or is it something a little more specialized?
You just said it exactly what I mean. I have an iPhone 12. That's all I use. And I use what's it called, Live Link. It's called, and I link that to Unreal to capture the motion data, and that's it. It does an amazing job. I'm always floored at how easy it is and how well it works.
That's funny.
So yeah,
that's funny because I specifically made my girlfriend get an iPhone 13 because I wanted that ability so I could scan things so that I could 3D print. It's just funny how the tools get used across the spectrum. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's just that easy.
I scanned my parents' pool while it was empty to count the volume on it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But I never thought of, using it for something fun and motion tracking or, basically producing your own cartoons or something like that. Like, that's just not where my brain goes.
Yeah, because we don't have time anyways.
True.
I would love to do this stuff.
No, yeah, it's very cool how different people are able to use different tools. Like we've been talking a lot about AI lately and how it's being just a tool. Different people are able to use different tools to get such drastically different results. And like, even though you're like, oh yeah, it's easy, it's just an iPhone, it's like, all right, well, I never thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, technology's come like pretty rapidly. What I'm waiting for is like AI to generate 3D objects. That'll just make my life so much easier. I don't know when that'll happen, but man, when that day comes, like phone me up, please, at home. No matter what you're doing, just call me.
We got that for sure.
Just let me know, huh?
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Cool. So, awesome. So you've got After the Aftermath. I said that right, didn't I? Yes. No. Fucking. Anyways.
Portraits. Yeah.
Portraits of the Aftermath. So I was trying to look up on my phone. Of course, going through so much other crap here. And then you said you're starting to work on your next project as well. Wow. Like, where does it ever stop? You just foresee yourself would you like to do this stuff full time? I mean, it might be a stupid question. Would you like this to all be your IRL world?
You know, no. You know why? Because if it's anything like my music, I need it to not be, because I don't want the pressure of like work, and I don't want to do other people's projects. I want to do what I do, and I don't want people to tell me what to do. So I don't think I would ever. I'm not that I wouldn't want to do it full time, but I wouldn't want to do it full time for like a company like Ubisoft or something like that. I just want to do what I do by myself, if you know what I mean, without any restriction.
We know exactly what you mean.
Respect.
Yeah, but that being said, I spend a lot of time doing making art, so I have very flexible work arrangements that allow me to do that. And I'm also that I have very flexible work arrangements that allow me to do whatever I want to do. You know.
That's fucking killer. You're very lucky.
Either an
very lucky
accountant or a
person.
real estate agent.
Like nothing like that.
No, it's Uber driver.
No, get any work done then.
Oh yeah, no, totally. It becomes a talent to be able to do things while you're driving. It's when you're a professional driver. Sure, cool.
Like Discord all day, right, Bits?
That's right. That's right. I was very proficient at that back in the day when I was a driver. Let me tell you. It's cool. I'm looking at your pieces. So I was looking at these older pieces that you were talking about. Yeah, they're very appealing to the eye as well.
Yeah, thanks. Like you mean the geometric ones?
Hang on here. Going back in. Oh, fuck's sakes. There was a bunch of ones with, I guess, sorry, I'm assuming I didn't look at the dates, but it just looks like a bunch of dots all across, and they kind of casually, it's a square, and they kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was like the second piece I ever made, or first or third piece I ever made.
Oh, I like that.
Very old. Like that's that geometric style.
Yeah.
Very old, like old school geometric, sort of abstract.
Simple, but it's very effective.
Yeah, and I think my first two pieces, even that piece, or maybe the first three pieces, I couldn't figure out, which is funny because I've been working so long, but I never needed to do this, so I couldn't figure out how to make stuff loop. And I was just like, I don't know, do people make stuff loop? And then after I minted that one that you're talking about, I was like, no, like I'm not minting another thing until I figure out how to get perfect loops for everything. Like that's got to be done. And so after that, I figured that out.
Cool. Underneath of that, I just saw this Fireflies piece that you had too. I just wanted to say that's awesome, mesmerizing.
Thanks.
That Cardinale piece, I wanted to mention. I had that written down here that I wanted to tell. Like that piece is sick as fuck. Like,
yeah.
Not even knowing that it's what the Cardinale is in the Threesomes project and everything like that. I would look at that and just go like, man, and just listening to it too, like that is a sick piece.
Yeah, that was a fun piece, and you can tell like I did that while I was working on Portraits of the Aftermath because like it's like a portrait of a futuristic Cardinale person with a gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gun or sword? I give him a gun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got like a rifle
it's definitely
in
a
his
gun.
back.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's a cool piece. The Cardinale have so many great artists on their team that produce Cardinale art. Like it's not even fair. It's not even fair to compete. They're with Neil Queen running the Twitter, you can't compete with their Twitter. Like it's It's
Hey,
crazy.
hey, whatever, man. We can clean litter boxes like it's nobody business because none of the cat moms own cats. So we're
I will
True story.
like yeah
Now
the
we
team.
have some great artists in Chris Truman and Lenny. Lenny's doing some pretty cool stuff now, but uh, no one's done anything for the cat moms yet.
uh,
Not yet. You just got to get that done.
maybe this year, maybe this season coming up, maybe I can try and put in some effort since some other projects I'm in aren't really panning out and doing well and taking much time attention.
Yeah, I'm trying to drag Huge Mike down there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Drag him in to be a cat mom
Well,
and
he's
get him to AI produce us some art at least.
yeah, he was already collecting cards.
Yeah, he
Nice.
keeps outbidding me on Valentine's. I'm like, come on, man, you're not even really in the project yet. Like, make either come in or don't. Now he wanted to give us a he wants to give him a rundown on the whole project, so we'll do that a little later in the space.
You can't really give a rundown on the project, though. In my personal opinion, as somebody who joined the project, wanted to join the project a while back, but only joined at the beginning of the last season. Man, you just got to get in there and you got to start doing it. You can't giving it a rundown. You're still going to have a person
It,
staring at you, going, "What?"
I'm
it's
with
kind of like Wag Me Wine in that way too, where gameplay changes constantly, so you can give a history lesson, but you can't necessarily give what's going on right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Proteon, you were going to say something there?
yeah. For anyone that's wondering like what we're talking about, this is like an amazing project. Like threesomes, the grotto. I I'm totally with you in that. Like even when I had like Paper Buddha and like Quistoff explain what it was. It's like deer in the headlights. I'm like, I have no idea what you were talking about. And being in the project for like the first month, and we had like training, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And now, finally, after like the first season, I feel like I've got it down, and I feel like I really get it. Although then there's like girlfriends, and I'm like, what is this? And I remember there was like a wheel spin with like these the quadrants and like madness, and I'm like, what is going on? So there's always like I'm always learning. It's such a big project, and
Mm-hmm.
I think people are drawn. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think people are drawn to like the complexity. It's so intense and it's so complex in a good way. Like I really love it. Obviously, I really love it. So I mean, I made a tribute to it, so I love it.
I've appreciated the because when I first had an opportunity to get in, we actually think that Willie was the one that bought the swipe card that I was going to buy at the end of the day if it was still available. But uh, it made me nervous even like following after that happened. Like I followed for a few months and I was like, no, I'm nervous about this. And Chris Truman had actually talked to me and Alp Doty, all friends of our space here, and Wag Me Wines. They talked to me personally in DMs over a few conversations, and I was still so nervous. And then it was kind of cool when I got in there that it's like, hey, just do what you can. You don't have to spend $1 million or whatever. Like just follow along. And that's how I played the whole first season. I just kind of did the minimum I had to do. I made a couple crazy moves and one of them paid off, and this season I'm like prepped now. Like I'm ready. I'm gonna make some different decisions and try to build up now. But yeah, you just got to get in there, man, because listening to people talk about it, I think you just end up going, what the fuck did I just listen to? But I kind of want to get into it. Anyways, get a little.
Yeah, it's a fun one for sure.
Yeah, yeah. There's no question. I would recommend that project to literally anyone. It's great.
There you go. Good
Unless
recommendation
you've
from
already been thrown
Proteon.
out.
Oh yeah, that happens too. Happens in other
Yeah.
projects as well.
Happens in other projects as well.
Happens in other projects as well. Yeah.
For no reason, you just get thrown out of a project.
It's all good.
Huh?
It's the world we live in. You can't get thrown out of our project because we don't have a project. Maybe someday WX8BK will have a project. And we'll just specifically do that. We won't be a rug, we'll be the project that throws you out.
We have a DAO, so you never know.
Yeah, we do have a DAO.
You never know.
Yeah.
So, Proteon, speaking of projects, I did want to ask you a little bit more about Bad Luck Club because I still have no real clue what's going on there other than I can maybe sometimes win some pieces from people. Um, but I minted the free Chad when it was free, and then I saw there was the burn right now, and um, couldn't really participate that to up my tier.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
okay. That's all right.
but
You do what you got to do. It's okay. You don't have to. If you can't, you don't have to. But I can explain like what it is and what's like what we're doing.
yeah, please do.
Yeah. So Bad Luck Club is like 12 ETH artists, or I mean, we're working on ETH for this project. Um, Mostly one of one artists, but like I said before, some are not. I think of the Bad Luck Club, I think there's got to be, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them are in the grotto, which is pretty awesome. So there's like, yeah, 4 at least. Myself, Paper Buddha, Laser Lou, Brooke, Studio Brooke. She's in there, and so as artists, we like run the whole gamut of like different types of art. Although we don't have an AI person, maybe yet, I should say. So there's like illustrators, there's 3D people, there's photographers, there's collage artists, everything. And what we decided to do was run like a free mint. So we minted out, I don't know, I think it was like 2,500 or 2,600. I can't remember the exact number of these like free little tokens. They were like a little skull with an arrow that flows into it, and that was a lot of fun making that because like a bunch of artists work on that. I work on the sound on that, so if you listen to it, it's like very like cinematic. It's listen to it on good speakers. You won't get the you won't get the good sound if you listen to it on like your iPhone, which I know 99% of the people are going to listen to it on that, and I should have probably not done it, but I still did it for like good speakers. Anyways, besides the point. Um, in the beginning, this was like when, well, the market's still not great, if I'm being honest. We're not up to nearly where we were before. Like if you think about like December, November. So we were like, well, we'll do this free mint. We'll give away lots of stuff. So we ran lots of giveaways. But then what we just started is now that we have these little free tokens, if you want to call them that, we call them Bad Luck Chad because he gets an arrow through his head. So you get like essentially it's sort of the same idea as like threesomes where like you get a shot to like, be on a wheel and you spin the wheel and if you win you can mint. So that's kind of what we're doing. The first one was a non-blind mint, so if you won you knew who you would be minting under, but going forward it's going to be like a completely blind mint, where if you win, you get the shot of minting, but you don't know who you're going to mint. So it can be any artist. And we're going to do 2 drops of 8 artists a month, roughly a month. We're going to run giveaways. We've got like this a burn mechanic that we just literally just started yesterday, and so far I think we've got almost 400 chads that have been burning. That's like an amazing amount in like a day. I'm shocked. So
especially on ETH.
yeah. So people are burning stuff on ETH. Like I said, 400 tokens have been burned already. And what that does is if you burn like a certain amount, you get like a new Chad. So we've created these like different tiers of these Chads. There's like a gold one. There's a, God, there's gold. I can't remember the tiers. Anyways, there's a bunch of different ones, and they're all different. And what that does is it alters your probability of winning, like your ability to win stuff. It also on the higher tiers, like for instance, if you get the top tier, and I think there's already 7 people that are top tier. That's like a guaranteed like mint, free mint. So like I think we're even paying the gas. Don't quote me on that. I know this is being recorded. I don't want to speak on behalf of BLC because I can't remember if we're doing that.
Not financial advice.
Yeah, but
all items subject to change.
exactly.
But
yeah.
he's Canadian too, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. You can be like, yeah, we're giving away iPhones.
And so we're also doing stuff like you can if you have different tiers, you get certain perks. Like if you want to see two artists make like a one of one, and we're doing like special one of one auctions just for like different tiers, or raffles,
Okay.
auctions, however you want to think of it. So like there's all these like little perks that we're doing, and it's all centered around like the free mint, and art. Like we're all, and the art's like amazing. If I'm, I really look up these other artists. Like some are huge. Like Paper Buddha's like 20K followers. Like Mendez, I think is like, I don't know, I want to say like 35K followers. It's like one robot is like, I don't know, 80K. I don't know. I don't even know. Anyways, like amazing artists that I look up to. And I feel like I'm definitely like lowest on the totem pole. Like, there's no question. So I'm like honored to be a part of it, and I'm excited. Like that, we're every single day we're always talking. Like the group chat's amazing, and we may not you may not get news about like the mints, and that's because on the other hand, it's like we're like 12 artists, and it's hard to like make decisions done, but we get them done. Like we're really pushing through. So I'm excited about the project. I want to say it's the only place or the only way in which, if you're on ETH, to get my stuff. But I did mint some things on ETH that I don't have listed, although it's still minted. So anyways, so I guess technically those are still available. But for now, that's really primarily the only way. I'm excited. My first piece is coming out this month, so I'll be in the next set of drops. So there's some alpha. We don't tell you who's drop. Well, we tell you who's dropping. We don't show the art. That's the other part too. So it's kind of like blind. Last month we did a test, and it was 4 artists. So it was Paper Buddha, Laser Lou. Oh man, I can't remember. I think Studio Brook. I could be making that up. And Lamane, or maybe Mendez. But either way, great artists, and like we were just working through like the contract, because we needed to do like special contracts. Like how do you do gamification and like probabilities in contracts? So we're using like pre-mint with Manifold, and there's all sorts of really elegant contracts. Like we actually have a developer that's working with us in this project, because it's not as like on the outside it might seem simple. Like yeah, sure, you burn a chat and I get an increase in probability, but like on the back end we have all this like gamification, and the probability like change, like what happens when one other person gets added into that pool. So we have a really awesome dev working with Manifold and taking that data from Premint. So it's a lot of fun. I'm learning a ton, and I'm like honestly just honored to be part of Bad Luck Club and be with that team. It's amazing seeing them work. It's amazing like seeing the ideas come out. And my first piece, I hope, is also going to be amazing. And of course, it's animated. Of course, it has music, and yeah, I'm excited.
And
Yeah,
now,
I didn't realize. I mean, like you said, it looks real simple from the outside, right? I didn't realize there was so much going on in the back end of the contract. And so used to Tez and Google Forms that we've been grown to love. But to see it all work kind of automatically on the back end is
so is this
neat.
is this Bad Luck Club NFT? Is that what I'm looking at on Twitter? Is that who this is? At Bad Luck Club NFT?
Probably. I think so. Does it have a skull as a PFP?
Yeah, you bet, with like an arrow through it, I think. Yeah.
That's Chad. Yeah, poor Chad.
Oh well, I'm following. This is
a lot of fun.
It's the one of the great thing. That's the one thing that Willie and I have been having a really big blast with, hosting this space every Tuesday night. It's like, it's one thing to talk to the artists, you like for you to give us your time and everything, but then it's the offshoots. Like when the artist starts talking about other artists or other projects, like that's where like the Tez wallet starts to drain, and that's where you start getting lost in the stuff. And that's what I really dig that, right? Because it's nice to know what you're interested in as well, right? So now you've probably just gotten me into a rabbit hole that I don't need to be in, but that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I go down those rabbit holes too. Yeah.
we all do it. We're guilty of it. I just wanted to mention to you, just getting a little sidetracked. If you know anybody that does music with like specifically, obviously with Tez, we're big Tez fans, but any blockchain, whatever blockchain they're using, any artists that are making music that you can send our way, or like send me a list of DMs or people to follow, because I've been looking for a lot of artists, and we've had a few on that make music or do samples and stuff like that. But I really would like to talk more about music in this world. I guess I could talk to you as well right now, but we could go 5 hours.
Biggest, if I'm being honest, like I don't know if I talked to him yet, but Jay Byrne, I mean, I would have him on in a second. He's on Tezos. His like one of ones I think sell for like 500 or 1,000 Tez, and he's all just music. Like he's a musician, and that's what he does.
Jay Burns,
like huge art, huge.
I just saw a tweet from him. So I mean, I know I follow him. Haven't reached out to him or anything. No, I don't follow him that closely.
Well, you should send me a link, Willie. Then or pin it. We'll check it out. Yeah, I would like to have. I would just like that's. I mean, your art is fantastic and great, but the fact that you have an audio factor to it as well, just specifically for the fact of that, here we are on Twitter like a radio station, right? And I mean, it was fun. Like this is the first night that I've played a second audio piece during the show, and I thought that's really cool. It would be nice to show the NFT, the video along with it, but like yeah. No, I just and I used to be a DJ, like Willie said, so music is definitely near and dear to my life.
Yeah, we play a lot of Findle clips because his lo-fi stuff goes really well over Twitter. I feel. I think you agree with me, Bits. Obviously, you want to found him.
Yeah.
And it's super chill. It's a great way to just kind of get into the space and kind of relax and get out of the day before you start chatting it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What, you don't think that and then I would like to start the show like this too. Right? Give it a street vibe.
Yeah. I did like the other one that you played a little better to start the show, but yeah, in the middle of the show, that was a great pull.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a Buddha in the background of that piece until you said that. That was really funny. That's another great thing about hosting this space and talking to the creators, is that you get a different view on pieces, and it's like there was something right in front of me that I wasn't even looking at. There was a Buddha there.
I love that piece because it's like that's like a really great example of like an infinite loop. That's just like perfect all around, but. Yeah. Because it has music, it doesn't loop forever. It's like a GIF, but I just love that one because it's such a great loop. Like visually, it's such a great loop.
Yeah, it was funny. I didn't have a lot of time yesterday when I put I looped it once and tried to get it. I tried to get it to match. Like I was like messing around with it, and it was like I was like, no, I'm getting too far into this. It might have been the marijuana as well, but yeah, I didn't have enough time. But yeah. It's a badass loop. I like listening to it, even the way that I created it for the beginning of the space. But anyway, sir, that was.
Yeah. So, knowing that most people, shop and do things from their phone and stuff nowadays. A lot of your stuff is a lot more, like you say, played on good speakers. Is there a reason for that? Is there like an integrity as far as, no, this is the music that I generally produce, so why would I dumb it down?
I feel like I try to make my work translate to a phone fine. Like when I'm mastering something, I have that in mind. Like, does it play well on a phone? But like in my PFPs, I have very like lots of very rapid panning, lots of very like small effects that you just won't hear on an iPhone, and that's okay. And I'm okay with that. But the reason why it's like that, and the reason why I chose to go that way, is because like technically it's difficult to do, and I like challenging myself, and I liked that. I like doing that, and I I'm always shocked, like if when I'm checking something on my phone, and then I'll put on headphones, or like even just headphones, like good headphones, and not even good headphones, but just like over the ear headphones. How like night and day it is. But I feel like that would be like that for almost anything, any kind of music.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that most people listen to it through their iPhone speakers, and that's the way it is. So I make sure that it can sound fine through that. And sure, detail will be lost, but I don't want to produce for iPhone speakers. I just don't enjoy that.
No, I totally dig it.
No,
I listen to
I
everything through.
completely agree.
I listen to everything through really good headphones or my stereo at home, and I appreciate your audio is fantastic. And you're right, when it's played on an iPhone, I still get the vibe. I still get what's going on, very very much so, right? For sure.
Yeah, and the reason I brought that up is there was, I don't remember who it was, but Lil Wayne or somebody several years back
Lil
now
Wayne.
even produced an album specifically for like iPhone headphones, like generic ass iPhone headphones, not even Beats or anything like that, but it was mixed for those headphones. And my I still just can't. It's still just like I can't fathom it still. I'm like, why? Like you mix it higher and it'll downgrade. You can't upgrade audio, but
Yeah,
it'll downgrade just fine.
yeah, yeah. That hurts. I mean, hey, maybe that's part of it is like marketing too, right? Or maybe he really knows what people are listening to his music. Like if 70% of his audience is listening to it on an iPhone, well, maybe play to them. I don't know. I mean, clearly that's a
I
name.
gotta think lazy has a little bit to do with it, but that's just me.
But he can do a proper album, so he knows what he's doing. That was a decision that was made there on purpose for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Well, I don't know if it was Lil Wayne or I don't remember exactly who it was. So, it's hard to say, but
That's
Yeah.
I just feel like it was a lazy decision.
it's the world we
Like,
live in.
it's good. It's good enough. Let's call it. We'll market it this way.
Yeah, it's. I was gonna say it's the world we live in. People are trying different shit. Don't you remember when everybody got the new U2 album downloaded to their phone, whether you liked it or not?
I hated that.
Yeah. Beautiful
And it wasn't
marketing
even
stuff that was.
whether you like U2 or not. That wasn't even a fucking anything. It was terrible. Like I don't even care. Like if you just want to like a couple of U2 songs, but that album that everybody was forced to have, and I fucking remember too. I erased it a bunch of times, and it just kept coming back, and I was like, okay, this is not cool. This is taking up space on my phone.
As a swipe holder in the grotto, I will no longer publicly besmirch the name of U2.
Hey, I wasn't saying. I was just making generalized comments.
So no comment.
Hey, dude, I dig the Edge, man. The Edge is a fucking. He's badass. I hate the little beanie he wears on his head, but he's a good guitar player.
As an American, not musical advice.
We're Canadians, so we could talk. What?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Proteon? Since you're a Canadian, I want to ask you that. What's your favorite Canadian band or artist or DJ?
I'd have to say Richie Houghton. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do not, but I'm Googling it now.
Sure, or Plastic Man, if you know his techno name. That's like a pretty well-known artist, Plastic Man, or Richie Houghton.
One of these is you, right?
No. I think he's. I mean, I know he was in Windsor. He's Canadian.
He's British Canadian, apparently. I'm just looking
There
around.
you go.
Cool. I'll have to check that out after. All right. Cool. That's cool. That's awesome.
That would have been really fun if you spent all space avoiding telling us your musical producer name and then slipped it in.
Yeah. No,
I sharing like my production name. I can do that later at a time if you want to listen to if you're actually curious. From that, yeah, you can dock me, but whatever.
No, I don't need to dox. I would just like to hear, like I say, I am super big music fan. I was a DJ for like 18 years of my life. So I love music, and I'm very much into all forms of how EDM, let's just call it electronic music. Like even as a kid back in the 70s and or sorry 70s 80s I was like, yeah, no, I was always very much into that stuff, like making sounds and things like that. So electronic music is and DJ and taking samples and shit, like I really dig that stuff. Sucks when I have a country girlfriend, but that's a different space altogether. She's like, I don't like there's no words in it. There's no words in this music. What's well, you don't need words. Just think of that squealy noise that you describe that you hate. Just think of that as the words. No, anyways. Getting deep in there. Well,
Yeah, there's not a lot of words in a Doors song either.
True, but there is some words.
Yeah. Proteon, do you play an actual instrument or just electronic?
I mean, I take massive offense to that. Yeah, I have.
No, I'm just
You play
just curious.
keyboard.
Like,
I
I don't play an instrument, so
Yeah, I play like keyboards. I should. Oh, I have like a pic. I posted everyone like buried in threads somewhere, but like what my studio looks like. But it's like a loaded with keyboards, and I love hardware synths, so I have like a massive studio.
sweet.
I play keyboards. Yeah.
This is nerd.
Cool.
This is getting into nerd talk. I'm liking this now.
Yeah,
Talking
but
equipment.
that's what happens.
Yeah, there's something that's really nice about, like, I know you can make great music with software, and that's not to knock software or not to say that like people need hardware, but there is just something that I love about hardware. I love like touching the knobs. That sounds weird to say. I love like physically interacting with the music, where it's like I can feel the electricity. I love that. So for me, I mean, I could make music only software, but it just wouldn't feel the same. Like there's like an element of it that's like, I don't know. I'm connected to the music because I'm literally making it, and I'm making it with my hands, and I'm controlling it. And for me, that's why I love hardware. And I spend way too much money on hardware synthesizers.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference between even like just like a couple MIDI pads and some controllers as opposed to a keyboard. Even if you're not like playing a traditional instrument, just like you say, that little extra piece of hardware, there's definitely a different connection and a different
Yeah, like
tactile feel
it
there.
bridges you. It just like brings you into it. It connects you to the music. For me, that's like the biggest part for sure. Like there's no question. I have that like physical connection to the music.
I want to I'm definitely not any kind of established musician in any way, shape, or form, but I can attest to the I'm gonna promote the knob turning, like actually putting your finger on a knob and turning that knob and sliding a slider, whatever, pushing a button on a piano keyboard or synthesizer keyboard. Like that's where it's at. Like I used to have I had an 808 back in the early days when I wanted to be an electronic musician. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
Yeah, of course I'm familiar with
Okay,
808. Holy shit.
well, dude,
808 and heartbeats.
you honestly, like I drop that to anybody and they just look at me like, okay, nerd. But anyways,
I hope you still have it.
No,
those things are really expensive.
no, man, I had that at a very, very young age. My mother found it for me in a thrift store, believe it or not.
Oh my god,
yeah.
you're one of those lucky people.
So, and this was like back in the day. Like I say, when I say young, like this was like 1987, 86, I don't know, like whatever. And I remember that and I loved it. And then I just remember kind of just like fucking getting like doing these beats and just like fucking like listening to it for like a half hour on end, the exact same thing, and just tweaking little tiny bits, right? Like, but that's, anyways, that went away when I turned into skateboarding and all that crap. Like and in my grown up days, and when I became a DJ, in my head I was like, my fucking god. I think that thing was just thrown out or donated to the thrift store. But it was kind of cool because it was a full circle. My mom found it in a thrift store and brought it home to me, and somebody else got it. But anyways, yeah. So anyways, back to yeah. No, I agree with, because I had an emulator that was an 808, and trying to like use it with a mouse and the keyboard, it wasn't the same, not at all. And
Yeah, I'm still jealous that you had an 808
Yeah.
from a thrift store. Like those are stories that I
when I had
you know.
when I had the 808, and when my mother brought it home to me, she actually thought it was a guitar effects thing, is why she brought it home to me. And it was unknown. Like even at that time when I started fucking around with it, it was unknown to me really what it really was in the real world, because there was no internet back then. There was no way to know anything, right? It made noises, and that's what I dug. But yeah, anyways. I also owned a very rare Fender reverb amp that was tube powered back in the day, that some guy flew like 8,000 kilometers to come and pick up for me, that he bought on eBay. And I realized I sold it for too little. But anyways, that's a different story, different space.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
Yeah, I could tell that story to my kids. Well, I don't have kids, but I could tell that story to kids, and they'd be go, "What's an 808?" And then I'd show it to them, and they'd be like, "Why do you like that?"
You know, all the music they listen to is all 808s now. Like that's all
Because
trap,
emulators
all pop.
just don't record spaces correctly, so you need a little hardware sometimes.
Well, there's that Roland thing. Have you seen that? Have you seen? Oh shit! I got to see how I can post this up here. But Roland 50 Studio, there's a thing online right now. It's for an anniversary, for 50 years of Roland or whatever the hell it was or something. But they have like, you can play the 808, the 303, the 6, like you can like mess around with it on your iPhone. I should really actually pin this up and get this, because
Oh, that's
it's
pretty
Okay.
yeah, no, it's very badass. I've actually been caught at work playing with it a little too much, honestly. I'm gonna pin it up at the top as soon as I figure it out. I just copied the link, but yeah,
I'm gonna send you a timestamp so you can clip that out for.
right.
I've been caught at playing it with it at work a little too often.
No, I'm not gonna take that sample. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. All right, I just so I'm gonna tweet that out. Then I gotta pin that to the top. I'm learning this shit, man. I'm multitasking now. I'm actually going onto the internet and taking links, and then I'm going to crash my phone, and the space will end.
No, don't say that.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, obviously you would have lifted your hands, I would assume, but sometimes people feel like they don't want to intrude on a space. I figured the mayor would have came up and said something about Solana, but maybe not. Maybe not this space. All right, I'm gonna pin this up at the top because it's a very cool link for anybody that wants to even have a clue about what I was just talking about.
Daddy Toski's PFP down there makes me look like she's constantly got her hand up.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us today, Daddy.
Yeah, I looked at that many times too. Little paw. So I pinned that up at the top. It shows up for everybody. That's a cool link. If you want to know what the hell an 808 was and what it does, you can kind of mess around with that and check it out. I mean, like, basically,
It's in every music. You've heard it in everything.
Oh, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, no, it's all the music in your life. Any musician you could probably talk to probably would know that, especially if you're in the electronic world.
Anybody post 1980?
I thought you were making an insult there for a second, but no, that was
No,
that was very,
because it came out in 1980,
no, I
right?
was gonna say it's very correct.
Anybody post 1980, it's going to be in there in some way, shape, or form.
And that reminds me, I was just talking about my mother and the 808 and the thrift storing. So she's gotten back into albums. She's bought some very nice turntables. My mother. I wonder where my DJing came from. She was never a DJ, but it was probably her. But she's like, well, I got this album and these guys. It was really amazing. And I looked them up, and apparently they were like the guys that created like industrial and techno. I'm like, is it Kraftwerk, Mom? And she's like, yeah, that's who it is, right? I don't know. I'm sure Proteon knows who Kraftwerk was. But, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Australian, right?
Nope.
Who am I thinking of? Talking Heads?
Maybe it was Men at Work. Who can it be
Maybe that's what I'm thinking
now?
of. Yeah, that might be who I'm thinking
Oh, God. Okay, this is getting bad if I'm singing.
of.
Cool. Well, you know, I was going to... Proteon, if you I'm not kicking you up anyways or telling you to take off, because these spaces usually end up going for like 5 hours. But I'm just going to let you know that anytime you want to casually duck out, if you're done with us, if you got real life stuff to do, by all means. But otherwise, we definitely will end up having more questions and conversations. If you do stick around, you can stick around for as long as you want.
Yeah, I'll stick around and just plugged in my phone charge.
Nice. That a man. We've had people have their phones die.
My headphones always die.
Yeah, they do. Actually, yours lasted right till the end of the space last time.
Yeah, technically they did.
Yeah.
Kind of like a plane crash.
Yep. Have you found any plane shit on your driveway lately?
No, thankfully no.
Well, that's good. I'm starting to question
Yeah.
the house that you just moved into.
Seriously, right?
I mean, you moved into it. You had shit on your driveway from an airplane that we believe, and you've had a backyard that flooded yesterday. Never mind the fact of that fridge, that your wine fridge. Remember that you had that problem with
Yep.
it.
Main fridge is dead too.
Oh, dude.
At least the main fridge is covered under home warranty, so that'll just be another 7 to 12 months before they get that fixed.
You bought a lid.
But at least that one's covered.
And I also hear that it's always like 111 degrees or 114 fucking degrees where you are.
Yeah, it's nice and cool right now. It's like 101.
Or shit.
No, it was like 101 today. We've had a nice cool spell.
Yeah.
Before it goes back to 110.
Proteon, I always have to do conversions whenever I'm talking, and I loosely do them in my head because of all these Americans that listen to the space, and it was quite entertaining. We had Neo Run on a few weeks back, and she's in Scotland, and it was really funny to talk to her because she didn't get what I was doing, and I had to explain to her. I'm like, well, you're in Europe, so you only see the metric system, and that's it. I said, over here we have to have both. It's like we set our stoves in Fahrenheit, but we do our tire pressures on our cars in PSI, and they want weights in kilograms, right? Like it's all over the place. Anyways.
Liquid in liters, right?
Yeah. When I fill out a safety, when I'm doing a safety at work, when I'm safetying a unit, when I go onto the government website, I can choose whether I do it in metric or imperial. And it's really funny because I can mix them both up. And I actually had an officer call me once and say, you need to change this. I said, well, what's the problem? He goes, well, you have the tire measurements in metric, and then you have the tire pressures in PSI. You need to change. And I'm like, no, man, that's the government website, and that's how it is, and that's how I can do it. So I'm leaving it. And luckily, he was in a different province from me, so I wasn't really scared of him too much, as far as him coming to visit me at my shop. But yeah, I just found it was entertaining. I'm like, no, man, the government made it this way, and if you can't figure it out, well, that's your problem because you work for the government. So that's the most government talk we'll ever get here. Canadian government problems.
Government.
Yeah. Have you collected any great NFTs lately, Willie?
Well, yeah, collected, yes. I haven't purchased many. But I've been I've been given quite a few lately due to some of the pieces I've been holding and whatnot. Um, and one I won today was I don't know if you saw it in the grotto, um, the Dedi Toski piece. I'll mention it since she's in here, because when she came into the grotto, she has hit like every single wheel, the exact opposite of me. She's hit everything. She's a saint. And they put out her fellow Cardinali put out a piece of holy water, you know, to those that are unlucky, like myself, that need a little bit of extra luck on the wheel. So, I don't remember who it was that said that they should do it as a reverse wheel. So, 93 names on the wheel. They're going to give away 10 of them in reverse wheel form. Um, and
What
it
the
got
fuck? Okay,
down.
whoa. What the hell is a reverse wheel?
So you draw them, and each one you remove, and each one that hits loses, right? So if you hit, you
Oh,
lose. You remove the name until you're down to only 10 names. Then those 10 are your winners.
that doesn't work for me.
Worked for me.
Well, it would.
So I didn't hit on that, and ended up winning. And the last three spins, it missed my name by one click over, including the very last spin. It was the next person on the like it almost landed on me on the very last spin, and then just barely clicked over to the next person.
Wow.
So my horrible reign of terrible luck has continued and only been quantified today by a reverse wheel.
That's the first. Yay! We should have celebrated that more. We should have celebrated that more for sure.
Yeah.
That's no, I didn't see
So
that
that
today. I wasn't. I haven't done any catching up today in anything discords or anything. So good for you, man, winning on the reverse wheel.
Yeah, thanks. I think the only piece I've bought lately is one the Mike Vandy's Tez Tuna event piece for half a Tez.
Have I bought that yet? Yes, I have. Deep Sea Blues. Yeah, I did. I bought a couple Shilly Prestons, um, and brought that Run the Jewels, that piece from Dbot.
D-Bot.
Yeah, no, I bought that. That just popped up in the morning. I had a notification because I follow him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that." I really like it. It's got some good colors in it. I bought
Yeah, it was a cool piece.
yeah, and Laser Lou. I got a hold of that one Tez piece that he put out because I really dig his stuff. But I feel I have to go through it and look at the offers that are available, and I definitely want to buy some of that stuff. I really dig it. As a kid of the '80s that used to nerd out and do things with lasers and lights, I really like his stuff.
Yeah, his is really, really cool.
And you got your
Yeah, I
sorry.
gotta say that too. Laser Lou. Every time I see like a post, and I always retweet him because like yeah, he's actually like mind blowing. Like, talk about being in your own genre. You know what I mean? Like, who's making freaking art with actual lasers? Like, it's so awesome.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, I
totally
saw I saw
truth.
him doing it live in PB's Discord one night, and I was just blown away. And I sat there and I watched him for like 2 hours, I think.
I was
And he was
talking.
just kind of going through different lasers.
I was telling Willie last night because Willie started mentioning that like I was retweeting a lot of Laser Lou stuff. Well, because it's just fucking amazing. But when I was little, younger, years back, 20 something years, I used to have computer fans that I would glue little pieces of mirror to, and then I had laser pointers, and I would like have three of these fans with mirrors on them, um, in a kind of a square, so that I would bounce the laser off of them, and it was like a spirograph on the wall. And like I used to sit in my room and do this shit for hours on end, and I'm like, there's my calling. There's who I'm supposed to be. it's supposed to be Laser Lou and Bits. Right? Like, I'm like, out of all the people in the world that speaks to me the most, I was like, my God, that guy speaks to me. He's fucking around with lasers. And I'm like, he was probably just like me when I was a kid.
And then produce a little bit of your own music to go in the background.
His pieces are mind-blowing. Like, just like when I look at some of the stuff that he uses, like when you look at like a crystal candlestick that, or some ashtray or something like that, like that's the other part of it, right? Like, you show this stuff to people and you go, well, it's real, it's not computer generated, it's whatever. And then you go, yeah, and that's a candlestick right there, and that's like, some Christmas ornament, right? Like, it's
a lot of chess pieces for a while there.
Yeah, like, that's amazing. Shot glasses. I don't know if I've seen any, but I'm sure there's some shot glasses in there somewhere. No, his stuff is totally sick. I would love to see some of those. I would love to see him in real life doing his thing. That would be dope. Does he do really big pieces too? Like, where'd he come from? He must have like been like in the 80s. Was he like a guy that toured with Poison or something? Like where did he? I know nothing about him. I guess I could ask him.
I don't know. I'd love to get him on so we can ask him.
Yeah, maybe
get him on. He is such a nice guy, and he is so cool. You guys will love me. Like, God, he's like a boyfriend or something. I'm talking like. Anyways, he's awesome.
No, I didn't think he would come on. Actually, like, I don't know why. I just gotta have a little imposter syndrome still, I guess.
Well, we don't know till we ask, I guess. We'll try it.
But I have talked to him. I did talk to him. Like I said, when he was doing his live setup, I asked him a few questions and stuff, and he was super nice.
Like that, like that Proteon guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can bro. It's okay to bromance out. I've been on here. Well, anytime that we ever have Chris Truman on, anytime Chris Truman comes on or just pops into the spaces, I lose it. My panties are on the stage as soon as Chris Truman's here.
Yeah, I got completely shell shocked last week by Wonder Mundo.
Yeah,
just lost it.
No, that was good. Yeah, she was an amazing lady. That was awesome to have her on. Everybody that we've had on. I mean, dude, I guess you wouldn't invite like shitty people you don't want to talk to on.
Well, we wouldn't know because they wouldn't come on, right?
Fair enough.
I was just thinking that same thing. Yeah.
One of these days maybe we'll invite some artist on and be like, well, what do you want me to talk about? Just like, I'm gonna pin some stuff at the top. Just look and read it. Like, it's all been on Twitter. I don't know why you have to have me on this space. Why'd you come on this space? It'll happen.
I hope so. I hope it's that Ian guy. Let's get that Ian guy on.
A question for Proteon, since you're Canadian. How do you feel about the Canadian music scene in this current day and age?
I'm pretty disconnected, I think, from all for like the. So I'm probably. Yeah, I don't know much of what's the scene at all, so I really don't have a good answer. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. No, that's all right. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
I think that's a perfectly acceptable answer. Not knowing is also a reflection of the scene, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, also too, he's got other things on the go.
True.
If he lived out, if he lived out in the bush on a mountain, he wouldn't be aware of it either. So, no, I'm just.
If he's not listening to music,
I'm just kidding.
But here's my thought on. Let me expand my thought on that a little bit. My thought on that is like they still make Canadian radio stations play 50% of their music has to be Canadian artists or something like that, right? Isn't there some law like that?
Yep.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure CanCon's still around, yeah.
Okay. So, my thought is, if the U.S. did that, or let's just say I was in Canada, all right, I was Canadian, I was in Canada, I don't listen to the radio. So what does it matter if you're playing 100% or 50%? I'm still not listening to the radio. Just because of advertisements and things like that. I'm listening to Sirius or Spotify or something else because I don't want to listen to the stupid commercials. So I'm still not listening to the radio. I'm still not going to be plugged into the Canadian music scene, even though by law you have to play 50% of it Canadian artists.
That was deep.
Does that make sense?
That was so deep and true. Yeah, that's because I guess I'm that way too. I mean, I don't listen to. Sorry, I got my phone turned up here. I don't really listen to radio at all. I always just search for my music, but I guess I also look for Canadian content too. But yeah, nobody listens to radio anymore.
Well, at the same time, I also kind of I don't care where someone's music comes from. Just like I don't care if an artist is male or female. I only look at the art. I don't care where they come from. I don't care if you're from the UK or Mexico or Canada. If it appeals to me and I like it, then I like it. I don't care where you're from.
True that. Just like art.
Right?
Well, I guess it is art. It's music. Music is art.
Music is art.
Music is art. Yeah, I definitely want to start. I definitely want to find more artists that are in this Web3 world. There's a lot of them. Honestly, it's kind of overwhelming. It's not that I haven't found any yet, but it's very overwhelming. It kind of came as a big, huge wave when I actually reached out a few weeks back on Twitter and asked about it. It was like the thread was huge. And clicking through it, I go down so many rabbit holes now. It's not disappointing either.
Yeah, it's just hard to kind of stay focused, right?
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Sometimes is the goal. Sometimes the goal is to go down rabbit holes.
That's how you find shit. That's for sure. Oh, sorry. I just had a little bit of wine go down the wrong hole there. I am drinking a Cab Sav tonight. It's I think it's Southern California is where this one's from.
Southern California
or wherever, I don't know.
Coast.
I'm just throwing that out there, man. California. It's probably
Paso area.
It's probably
Paso Robles?
It's probably all over the places where it's from. Honestly, it's probably some blend of just like juice. The girlfriend bought it today. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's got good tannins. Ripping. Actually, it's got awesome tannins. I really like that. I'm big on heavy tannins, making your mouth water. Make your mouth water at the back.
Mouth-watering tannins.
Mouth-watering tannins. Proteon, you a wine drinker? Booze drinker? Beer drinker? Water drinker?
Everything. Yeah, I partake in everything.
Dope. Good for you. We had that last week. We had talked to somebody that didn't do anything, and we questioned like how does anybody stay sane if you don't have a glass of wine or have a whiskey, a beer, or a hoot, or partake
of like one vibe at least, like hookers or something. God.
Yeah, that's where I went with that. That's what I said. I said, well, are you into kinky fucking sex or what's the story here?
Addicted to buying NFTs.
That's probably what it. Yeah, well, I guess there's all kinds of different shit nowadays. You gotta do something, man. The people that don't do anything are freaky. Those are the ones you gotta watch over your shoulder for.
Yeah, those are serial killers. That's what they are.
That's right. They're looking for another outlet.
Fucking thrill kills. That's all they want.
Thrill kills.
Kills. What are you going to do today? Well, I'm going to go for a beer after work today. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go fucking jump out of a tree and kill somebody. Okay, well, you go kill that person.
Hey, Proteon, you said all you read is like post-apocalyptic scenario type stuff, right?
Yeah, that's all I read.
Do you got any good? And this is gonna be like a bad question, but you got any good movie recommendations in that genre?
Uh, I mean, I guess you probably already seen it, but like if you haven't seen Blade Runner, I don't know. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, yeah, seen
Oh,
Blade Runner.
that's
I
OG.
mean, that's one of my favorite movie genres. So that's why I'm like, maybe you have some B movie or something that's great that I don't know about.
You know what? I feel like a lot of the movies that have been done are fucking terrible. Even like really well. Like I don't know if you ever saw I Am Legend. Um,
Yep.
that fucking movie is terrible. Um, you could have named it something entirely different and never have known that it was quote unquote based on I Am Legend. Like the whole premise of the book and why he's fucking called like a legend, you don't even know in that entire movie. And I was so fucking furious when that movie came out because like the movie is so good, sorry, the book is so good. And I remember getting to the end of the book. I don't want to ruin it for you if you don't know.
The book's by the same name.
Yeah, it's called I Am Legend.
I was
Yeah,
just wondering because I thought it was also a remake of an early '70s like Charlton Heston movie.
it was too. Yeah, and that's from the book. So they both stem from the book. But like the key thing is like in this, Will Smith remake, you could have named it something else and you wouldn't have known that it was like I said, I Am Legend. Like the name of the goddamn book is so important because and like at the end it's you find out like what the legend is and why he's the legend. And you don't know that in the movie. Like I just hated that. So I feel like they do bad jobs. I haven't seen The Road. I don't know. I like the book. I haven't seen it, so maybe that one's okay.
Is that new?
Pardon me?
Was that like is that new? Is that like 10 years old?
No, I feel like maybe it's like 5 or 8 years old or something like that. I don't know. The book was good. I haven't seen any good like Dune. I guess I don't know if you want to consider that post-apocalyptic. It's like sci-fi, like dystopian.
You're talking
I
Yeah,
about.
like
I haven't seen the new one. I didn't hear
Yeah,
good things about it.
I never even bothered to go see the new one because I didn't want to even entertain it. Honestly,
So I actually enjoyed the movie. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed the movie. I thought like the effects were amazing. So I was blown away by the effects. And especially because I like do 3D stuff. I was super impressed. Um, I don't know if you've read the books. I mean, I know they're still technically being written by his son, but the fuck it's like poetry. He was such a great author. Like I can't remember his name right now. It's escaping me, but like an amazing author, and I feel like someone that wrote sci-fi like that poetic is just amazing. But I thought the movie was good. I mean it's a movie, so there was some latitude, but I still enjoyed it.
Right.
I wasn't disappointed. How about that? And I would not shit the movie either. Not like I Am Legend. Like that was like pissed me off. You know what I mean? Whereas Dune, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it again. In fact, because it's beautiful to watch. It's like one of those beautiful movies. You know what I mean?
Dune. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dune was very cinematographic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That opening scene was no, it was a good movie.
What do you think about Borderlands coming out?
A movie?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't remember if it's a movie or TV show. I'm trying to look it up, see if it's a. I think it's a movie.
I had no idea. No, I'm down to watch it. I didn't know that was a thing. But I know it's a game, and I played. I mean, like I said, I have the game Borderlands 3 installed on my computer right now. But yeah, I'm down to check that out.
Yeah, I think it's. It's got Kevin Hart in it, so it
Really?
could either be great or terrible based
Yeah,
on where they go with it.
like I love the humor in the game. I don't know if you guys have played the game, but like that's my kind of humor, like that dark kind of dumb dark humor, I guess you could call it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm really selling it, I know. But I don't know. Kevin Hart, I don't know. It could like you say, it could go either way, I guess. We'll see. I'll check it out for sure.
yeah, I'm excited for it to come out at least something new.
Is there a release date?
I don't know. I'm on IMDb. It just says 2022. So I don't know. Maybe next summer.
I'm very not happy with the reboot deal that happens. I mean, like everything's been done kind of thing, so everybody just remakes movies. I'm really getting tired of that. Just thought I'd throw that in there to be smart in the
No,
conversation.
absolutely. Like
Right?
there's just no good writers left out there. Like it goes back to um, the writer strikes in like '96, I think it was '98 maybe, um, and you can see a drastic downturn in original content, and then it never like really fully recovered before like Netflix streaming came out. So then now you have more networks and streaming platforms, and now what good writers you do have or did have all got splintered into too many different places. So yeah, I feel the entire industry never really recovered.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll they make trillions of dollars a year, so economically sure, but from a viewer standpoint, I don't know, unless you just love Marvel movies.
But I will if somebody reputable is going to redo I Am Legend in the appropriate way. I'm down for watching that now. I had no idea. I'm not a book reader, but I do hear that echoed all the time. People always talk about how the books are typically better than the movies by a long shot. But the I Am Legend one, that was new to me tonight. I'm kind of pissed off now too.
Yeah, it's infuriating, especially because the book is one of those things where at the end it's so climactic, and in the movie it was like it's just a huge letdown. It pissed me off so much.
I'm actually looking it up like for Apple Books. Like I want to download it for the next time that I have. I only read like books once a year, but if I already have one loaded, maybe I'll read it. But that I just find that very interesting. So I'll keep you up. I'll get you updated in like a year when I read it. I'll be like, God damn it, you were right. That's horrible.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Or just get the audiobook while you're working or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I've lost that. I used to do that kind of stuff, and I used to listen to spaces and all kinds of shit during work, and I have lost. I don't have that anymore. It's terrible. I miss it. You can definitely kill a good portion of the day when you're working away and just listening to a story. But I work in an
Yeah,
environment.
for
I work in
sure.
an environment now where like something can like crush me or kill me. I can get burnt or hurt. So gotta pay
I don't know
attention.
what it has to do with listening to anything, but
I don't know. I would rather not. I would rather know it's not coming. Right? Why do I want to be
yeah.
scared? I just want to be in my fucking. Oh, I was listening to the fucking NFT chill podcast, and then a beam hit me in the head, and I was dead. It was no big deal. I don't want to fucking hear somebody. Oh, I don't want to hear somebody go look out. So I turn around and see it coming.
I guess it's that.
Oh, my dog. I have to go tend to my dog. Oh, I just got kicked out.